Hey everybody, just letting some more light in. So I don't know whether anybody's going to arrive today. This was very, very spur of the moment. I just decided that I wanted to do a live stream today because I did actually forget, as I am wont to do the regular vlog this week. So I thought, well, if anybody's around, you can join me today. And yeah, I hope this is okay. Grab yourself a beverage. I've got a little bit of coffee here. I've got a soy latte, or as close to latte as I can get my milk in my new espresso machine. But yeah, I thought I might just do this, and I am up in my bedroom. As you can probably see, it's a little bit warm here today. I think it's supposed to hit 32. And yeah, I'm a little bit sweaty up here. So I haven't done a whole ton of makeup today, not like I normally would. We're keeping it very casual. We're keeping it very weekend-like. And yeah, I'm going to have my coffee, even though it's a little bit hot up here for coffee. And yeah, I've got my water as well. So I hope you've got a beverage just to keep yourself hydrated. And yeah, I guess we can get on to some of what I have been working on. I actually do have a finished object. And I have to remember, in this setting, I cannot edit out these things, so I need to keep them in. So it makes it a little bit different to my usual format. So I'm going to have another sip of coffee, put this down, and talk about my finished object. Hey, Belle! Thank you for joining me. I have finished some socks. Yes, I have an FO. So I finished my other pair of sneaker socks, so for walking the dog, etc. So these were done exactly the same way as I did with my first pair, the grey pair, which I have been wearing this week. I've worn them a couple of times this week, and they have held up pretty well. And yeah, I think the ribbing's a little bit loose, I have to say. They do slip down a little bit. But yeah, they're fine. They work. So these are my second pair. This was from the Felici, Nitpicks Felici. Words. I'm under pressure because this is all live. And this was the Raspberry Beret colorway. So these were, like I said, my previous pair of socks. These were done 2 at a time on a long circular needle. And yeah, I feel like the division where the needle is a little bit visible, but I'm hoping that'll just sort of, I feel like it's worse than the first pair, so I don't really know what that's about. But I figured we'll see what happens. It might wear its way out, who knows. I feel like these ones ended up being a little bit more shallow above the heel. So this section here, I think, is a little bit more shallow than my first pair. So yeah, these ones, seeing the other ones slip down a touch, I'm not sure what these ones are going to do, but we will see. They were knit exactly the same way. I don't know if they're exactly the same number of rounds because yeah, I didn't count them. Maybe I might do that in future just to get things a bit more consistent, is to count my rounds so I know that my foot is going to fit, etc. Because I did these with my Fish Lips, well, it's not mine, but the Fish Lips Kiss heel, I used the little template. The pattern, if you aren't familiar, has, it's a very, very long pattern. It only costs $1.99. It's totally worth it. But it's very long, and it teaches you how to make a template of your foot, etc. And you put lines on your template to tell you where to start your heel/toe, I think, depending whether you're doing toe up or top down. So I put my heel in where my template told me to, so these should fit. So yes, that is my FO. I do have an FO for today, so I probably will have another pair of socks next week, I think. But that is a work in progress, so I might get onto that now. So I have been working again. I can't remember if I spoke about these last week. No, I posted on Instagram. I have picked up my Mewstone Cave socks again. I had already done this much sock. So this is just in my regular 9-inch circular needle that I knit this sock in. And I just did a regular heel flap and gusset. So this was my yarn. This was Lovebird Lane Yarns. This was the Mewstone Caves colorway. And because I'd done this one and I put it down and I wasn't really feeling it too much anymore, I ended up knitting those other socks. And since I've been doing those two at a time on the long circular needle, I think I've actually converted myself to that. I think I actually do prefer it. I don't know that I prefer it, but I'm finding it very convenient to knit two socks at a time. Even though technically I can't really see it saving that much time to knit the socks, because although you're doing them two at a time, you are still having to knit two whole socks. So I don't really see it being too much of a time saver, but I don't know. I'm just finding it really convenient at the moment to do two at a time. So what I have done is I've cast on the second sock in this pair, and I am working from the outside of my ball because this ball, I mean, it looks really ratty right now, but yeah, I started on the outside of the ball, and I do believe my gauge is different doing it on the circular needle. That's what it's called. Long tail method, not long tail method. That's a cast on. Oh, words. See, I have problems with words all the time. On the long needle, I think because when I'm using the circular needle, I use my left hand to knit. So I knit continental, whereas when I am knitting the 9-inch circular, I use my right hand. So I work differently on the two. So I'm thinking possibly what I might need to do, because just like looking at, I mean, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, especially on the low res of my webcam, that the stitches on this side are bigger than the stitches on this side. So these two socks are probably not really going to match. I mean, if I lay them on top of each other, you might be able to see. So you can see there that the one that's on the long circular needle is a little bit wide. What's Belle saying? Yeah, that's a good point. If you do them two at a time, they're more even. Yeah, exactly, because your gauge is kind of the same, plus, you know, you're doing the same rounds for each section because you're doing your heels at the same time. So yeah, I do agree that that's much better that way. But yeah, I think what I need to do if I'm going to continue to knit my socks, yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's why I count my rounds, because I try and get all my rounds in the right spot so that I don't have my increases and decreases in the wrong spots. But yeah, I think if I'm going to continue to knit two at a time on a long circular needle, I think I should go down to a 2.25 millimeter needle, because obviously my gauge working continental is slightly looser than my gauge working sort of English style. So I think that's probably something that will be on the cards for me, is to go needle shopping. And when I do buy another needle, I think I'll get a longer cord, and I will also get metal tips, because these are quite fine tips. These are 2.5 millimeter, which I think is US 1.5. And at times I do worry that I'm going to snap them when I am knitting on these needles. So yeah, I think I might invest in some high hires or chiagus or something like that with a longer cable and metal tips, because I do enjoy using these. Are higher sharps on the 9-inch. So I think I'll probably end up getting some higher sharps in a longer cable length. So see, normally I can edit out all this rubbish when I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, I don't have that luxury today. But yeah, that's one of my knitting works in progress. And I'm glad to have picked up these socks again, actually, because I really do enjoy this colorway. It's very, very pretty. So it's nice to be working on them again. So actually, now that I'm here, I do actually have my template. So this is my template that I made using the Fish Lips Kiss pattern. So it's got my name on it, so I know that it's mine, although that's the only template that I have made to this point. But that is my foot. So that is my right foot, which is my longer foot. So that is what I meant when I said that I have knit the line. So because I did those other socks, these ones toe up, I knit to that highlighted point, and then I started my Fish Lips Kiss heel, because that is basically the amount of space that the short row part of the Fish Lips Kiss heel encompasses. All right, so we can pop that away. I might have another drink of coffee because anxiety, guys, the struggle is real. I am stressing a little bit here. I honestly don't know whether caffeine will help with that, but we're going with it. We're going to see what happens. I do have a couple more projects to talk about. So I have a little bit of quilting and another work in progress with knitting because I have been getting a little bit of my knitting mojo back. So, which is good because although I haven't finished the gift for my other friend that I mentioned that I wanted to finish, I have been working on the second gift that I had cast on. So I'm going to put the coffee down and I've been working on the Maybe Queen again. So let's see if I can get this sorted. So, all right, this sweater is the one that I frogged my pomme de pin cardigan and started casting this one on. So I've just basically been working on the body. Like I said last time, I think possibly even last week, this is quite heavy. It's a very heavy jumper. So I'm finding that I'm struggling a little bit with my hands. Like I knit on this quite a bit yesterday and last evening, and today my hands are quite sore. So this is again going to be probably put on the back burner because yeah, it's very heavy. I'm really struggling with holding it up. But you can kind of see now that it's starting to get a little bit longer in the back because I'm holding that pretty much because obviously it's got the short rows on the back here that shows you that it's got a bigger collar and then the smaller collar at the front. So you can see that that is hanging down a little bit there. So because it is a sort of a asymmetrical split hem sweater. So yeah, I'm just working away on this as much as I can. Like I said, I've really been into it. I am enjoying the knitting on it, but I am finding it very, very heavy for my poor old hands. So yeah, I think this is probably going to end up getting put away again. But I've basically been working on the section where we are increasing this middle portion here. So it creates like this A-line in the center of the sweater. Well, not the center, it's on the sides of the sweater. So yeah, and I'm quite enjoying it. And there's I love the way the short rows are done for the sides. But yeah, I'm thinking that's probably all I really need to say about this one. I'm again using my high sharps on this one because it is one of my, I only have I think 2 needle sets. One is a Knit Pro Carbons, and then I have my high sharps as well. So that is what I'm using here. I don't know what size they are. 3.5 millimeter for US. So that's what I'm using on this one with my own yarn. Well, it's not technically my own yarn. This was, as I mentioned before, Knit Pick Stroll, and it's a sport weight. So I dyed this in my own colour. This is Wisteria Arbor, so it's this pink and grey, not pink, purple and grey. And yeah, it is trucking along nicely when I get to work on it. So hopefully I can pick this up a couple of times this week and try and get that body finished. So that would be really good. Okay, so I've only got really one more thing to talk about, and I have been sharing it quite prolifically on Instagram. So you've probably already spied this along the way somewhere. And it is the entwined quilt. So I had been working on my mysterious quilt, and I am still obviously working on my mysterious quilt. The mysterious quilt needs 48 blocks. And I've probably done about 20 now. I did do a few more this week. And I guess maybe I'm just a little bit burned out on it because I mean, I said this last week, I think, when I was talking about it, I wasn't sure about the colours on it. And although in that photo that I did show, if you want to see that, head back to last week's episode, the initial layout that I did, I quite liked the look of. and I think it looked pretty nice when all the colours are put together. But I'm finding when I'm putting the blocks together, all the different colours are really overwhelming to me. Like they're just really a bit full on. And I think once they all get put into their positions in the quilt, it will tone it all down, because you know how you put lots of different colors together and it kind of gets muddy. It just looks a bit brown. But so I think possibly once they're all together, that's just going to tone them all down. But when I'm working with the individual squares, I'm finding it a little bit overwhelming. So I've put that to the side for the moment. It will be next on the list after I finish this one that I'm currently working on. And yeah, did I say this is the entwined quilt? I think I did say that. And basically, it is a pattern by the Quilt Factory. And I can't even think where I found it. I think I knew I wanted to work with this layer cake that I am using. So where did the tag go? I do have the tag here somewhere. Here it is. I am using Midnight in the Garden by Sweetfire Road, who incidentally is very, very sweet. She's been leaving some very lovely comments on my Instagram posts on these. So yeah, it's very, very floral. It's pink, it's grey, it's black. It's kind of all my things, my colours. And I did a little bit of a, what do you call it, like an audition for what I wanted to use my background colour. The pattern itself, I'll put a link if I can at the end. Just, you know, I don't know. I've not done many of them. I think this is only my second live stream, and the first one was only for my patrons. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I can adjust the description at the end and things like that. So I'll stick some links in there if I can jump in. And yeah, the pattern itself, I believe I went to the Quilt Factory's website because I want to do their rose crossing quilt. And the rose crossing, I've got another layer cake that I just got in the mail this week. I've been very naughty. I sold some spinning stuff for quite a bit of money, so I've splurged a little bit on fabric, even though I probably should have put that money towards something else. But you know, us crafters, we do what we need to do. And so I got a layer cake that was Riley Blake's Sonnet Dusk, because Jordan Fabrics did the Rose Crossing quilt, and they used Riley Blake's exquisite layer cake, which I loved. I absolutely loved that. And I couldn't find that layer cake anymore, because I'm assuming, the fabrics go through collections and things like that, so they're not always available forever. And other than, I think in the US, I could get one shipped here, but it was going to cost over $100 for a single layer cake, and it was just not really worth it, I suppose. And I stumbled across the Sonnet Dusk designs, so I bought a layer cake of that, and then I was going to use that for the Rose Crossing quilt. So I was looking at the Rose Crossing quilt to see what else I needed for making that, and I stumbled across, this is the long story that gets you to the fact that I found the entwined quilt. And yeah, so I had this layer cake, the Midnight in the Garden layer cake, in my stash for a couple of months. I bought it in the same order that I bought my the William Morris fabric. So if you remember my double slice layer cake William Morris quilt top that I made, I bought this layer cake at the same time. So I might put my coffee down and show you some of the squares, because I have finished all of my individual like the building blocks of the main blocks. So I will pick them up. So it's basically this really lovely floral hi Shara. I know, Belle. The William Morris is gorgeous. So yeah, this is what I'm using. I'm using the Midnight in the Garden, and it's lovely and floral. It's got the greys, it's got the pinks, it's got the blacks, but it also has this sort of mustard pop. And ordinarily, I'm not an orange or yellow, red color type person. I mean, I usually wear black, grey, and pink. But somehow in this, I am like really loving these mustard pops. I just think they're so pretty. And the fabrics are all quite whimsical. I didn't bother doing directions. There's some that are directional. I didn't bother worrying about the directions because once it's all put in the quilt, it's probably going to be a little bit everywhere anyway. Let's see if I can find some more of my favorite fabric. So there's bees on here, there's ducks, there's rabbits, there's hedgehogs. Let me see this one. So there was this fabric that had these big roses on it. I might actually grab it out of the pile because there is some piles that are just the fabric, but these are the building blocks. This is one of them. So it kind of makes a flying geese type block. The next ones are these are two opposite type of blocks. Ooh, if I can pick up my other pile. So you can see they're just the same but opposite to make these sort of stripes, I suppose you could say, diagonal stripes. And then here we go, this is perfect. So that is what really drew me to this pack because there's, I believe on the top of the layer cake it had the black. So the black with that pink rose on there, and I was just so taken with that rose because I do love roses. I actually was talking to my friend Monica this week on Facebook about she's got this really gorgeous rose, and I think it's called Soul Sister Rose. Yes, the black and the rose is so pretty, isn't it? Hi, Janali. Thank you for joining me. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but that's how I say it. Yeah, so I really love this one. It's really pretty. And yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, I was talking to my friend Monica about the Soul Sister Rose that she has. And I really love to have some roses here, but with the way our yard is, because it's only a unit, it doesn't have a ton of space. We've got the fairly decent size courtyard at the front and backyard, but some dum-dum concreted in all of our pavers. So, yay, I said it right. Thank you, Denali. I didn't know whether that was how you say your name or not. Yeah, so some dum-dum concreted in our pavers, so they're very hard to get out. So Monica did say if I wanted roses, I'd probably need bigger garden beds, which is going to be hard because we have pavers in the way. So yeah, so she said I could probably do it in a pot. But anyway, that's another little tangent that I love roses. So of course I saw these roses and yeah, I just really, really love this fabric. So let's get on and show you. That's my block. So I don't know if that's the right orientation. I think that might be the right orientation. I did have a little bit of a snafu with this because the pattern asks for these individual half square triangle blocks to be 4 5/8 inches. And I just couldn't get that because obviously we started with, I think, 5-inch blocks. And once you, thank you, Belle, once you obviously sew, you're going to take up a 1/2 inch because you generally have a 1/4 inch seam. So I was sort of trying to figure out like how 5-inch blocks can become 4 5/8 inch blocks when you take out 1/2 inch. It just doesn't compute in my brain. So what I did is my half square triangle blocks, I just like sized them all. I could get 4 1/2 inches for them. So I just sized all of these to 4 1/2. However, the like the plain fabric pieces, they were obviously cut to fit the 4 5/8 half square triangle block. Like when they get put together, these were cut to fit these if they were 4 5/8 inch, which I didn't get. So what happened when I put this together, because there's this center seam, I put the short, like I lined up these single fabric panels with the rest of the blocks, and then it just overlapped at the bottom here a little bit. So I just trimmed that off to make it square. I think that's probably gonna, I don't know. I think overall my quilt is going to be narrower than what the pattern should be because I've only got 4.5-inch blocks instead of the 4 and 5 eighths inch blocks. It's really a mouthful to talk in inches. Um, yeah, so I think overall, even with these panels being the full width that they needed to be, I think overall my quilt is going to be a little bit smaller than written, but that's fine. I've just kept these pieces as is and just have made them fit what I have here. So I'm just fudging it. But yeah, so that is my block right there, and I can't wait to get more done. Like I did this one, I basically made enough of these piece blocks here to make one square, and I just went ahead and put the one square together because I don't like waiting. I'm impatient, and I wanted to see what these fabrics would look like in the block. So I just went ahead and did that prematurely. So the mix of colors, I'm just trying to be really random with it. But yeah, the mix of colors might be a little bit off in this block in comparison to the rest because obviously I'm going to have more colors scattered throughout because yeah, that was just my basic start blocks. So yeah, I think that's probably it, guys. That's all the things that I have been working on. I'm probably going to do a little bit more quilting this afternoon if I can be bothered getting everything set up. I still don't have my little quilting nook set up downstairs. I really do want to work on that. But yeah, I have things that I don't know where to put them. So that's the problem is like, that's why I sold some stuff this week to try and made a bit of space, made a bit of money, meant that I have a bit more fabric coming for another quilt or two, probably another 3 quilts. Actually, some of the fabric is going to go into my Dresden Blooms quilt that I spoke about last episode, I think. So I've managed to get some more because I think that range is getting kind of old, the boudoir range. I think it's sort of on the older end of fabric kind of scale. So I managed to get some more yardage of that just because I need more jelly strips for that one, and I need borders and things like that. So I have got a little bit of that coming. I had that Sonnet Dusk layer cake come through. So yeah, just I did manage to get I should have brought them up. I didn't bring them up. I'm upstairs in my bedroom. So yeah, I'm not going to run down and get them, but I did get my Ladybird charm squares that I spoke about last week. So they came through and they're beautiful as I expected. So yeah, I have to figure out something that I can make with just 2 charm packs with that Ladybird fabric. So yeah, I've got a few things on the cards. I think hopefully I won't be buying any more fabric for the moment unless it's like filler fabric, like the background fabric, which I didn't actually elaborate on, did I? Because I used the white fabric. Well, it's natural unseeded, I think it's called. It's Prima Homespun from Spotlight. Natural unseeded, I believe, is the colorway. Or the color of the fabric. So I did try out some charcoal, which was the same as what I used in my Fresh Diamonds quilt. And I also have, I think it's called Iron, some of the Iron colorway, but it's a bit more of a brown color, not quite a coffee, sort of latte-ish brown. So I tried both of those with this quilt and I didn't really like either of them. So I just stuck with the natural. So, but yeah, I think it's possible that both of those or one or other of those will end up in my Dresden Blooms quilt with the boudoir fabric. So yeah, I've got a bunch of things cooking. As to whether I can finish them, that's another thing. I did try doing some free motion quilting this week, which didn't work very well. I picked out quite a bit of it because of course I went straight ahead and did it on a quilt instead of a practice patch because I figured I made that ugly quilt a while ago that was it's called the Ugly Quilt. It's just like, it was from Karen of Just Get It Done Quilts. She has a video showing you how to make it. And I figured, seeing it was the ugly quilt, I could test my free motion quilting on the ugly quilt. And my free motion quilting was so much more ugly than the quilt that you just can't even believe it. And I found that, I don't know whether it's that my backing has polyester in it, because I did hear that apparently just plain cotton is best for free motion quilting, for like not being sticky on the back side. But I used an old sheet, which I think is polyester cotton, and it was sticking really badly on my, what do you call it, like the table section of my sewing machine. I did use my quilting machine that I purchased a few weeks ago, months ago, a couple of months probably. And it's very, very sticky. So unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to buy one of those Supreme slider things. And I don't know about you guys, but to pay like over $50, including shipping, for a Supreme slider mat to put on my sewing machine, I kind of feel like I'd rather spend that money on fabric. So, I mean, I'm just finding it hard to pull the trigger on the Supreme slider. So I'm thinking, at least for the moment, just to get some of these quilts actually sandwiched and quilted, because I've got quite a few tops sitting there now. I think I've got 3 or 4. I have sandwiched that, obviously, because I've been quilting on it. I've sandwiched the ugly quilt, but I have 2 or 3 more, I think. I've got the William Morris quilt. I've got my another one that was the jelly roll strip one, and I have the fresh diamonds. So all 3 of those need to be quilted. And I'm thinking, just for the moment, to ensure I have some finished quilts instead of just having quilt tops sort of build up, that I might just do walking foot quilting, just do straight line quilting, just to get it done, pretty much. And I figured I can, like, the fresh diamonds quilt's very angular, so I could probably do diagonal walking foot, and the jelly roll one's very horizontal, so I could do horizontal or vertical, just straight lines. I could do sort of wavy lines. So I figure that's, for now, I think, where I'm going to start. So perhaps in the future, when I've got a little bit of extra money, and I can justify buying the Supreme slider, I might do that, and then get into the free motion quilting, because I do love the free motion quilting. It's so pretty. Like, I love the swirls and the feathers, and even just basic things like the stippling and like the little loops and things. So I love the look of the free motion, but I think I need a slight upgrade to my tools in order to be able to do that in a way that it doesn't frustrate me and make me just not want to do it ever again. So, because, I have a tendency to spit the dummy and things just get left for months. And if I get too frustrated. So I think I'll just keep things easy, do it with the walking foot, so I at least get some finished quilts, especially because it's now getting into autumn, which means winter's around the corner, which is fabulous because I hate the summer. So yeah, I think that's all the crafty news, I think, guys. I think that's it. Oh gosh, I've been going for nearly 34 minutes. Wow. Who knew I could talk for that long? Not much has really been happening around here, I have to say. It's just been very quiet. Not much has been going on. It is Simon's and my anniversary coming up this week, so we're going to be going out for dinner, so that was nice. I'm going to be looking forward to that. Well, I am looking forward to that. We haven't decided where we're going yet, but I guess it's an excuse for me to get dressed up, I suppose. Not that I really enjoy doing that. I'm not a very girly girl, so getting dressed up is not really my thing, but I can suck on a bit of makeup and put on some nice clothes, I suppose, so we can go out and have some nice dinner somewhere. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, Simon's just off at sailing today. It's a lovely day for it. I don't know if it's very breezy, but it's lovely and clear. I just keep looking out my window here. I really like this window. yeah, so I think I might leave it there. I'll let you guys get on with your Saturday, and I'll finish my half cold coffee and perhaps do some more quilting. So I guess until next week, happy knitting, happy crafting, happy quilting, happy all the things. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for coming to spend some time with me, everybody. I'm very glad that I wasn't just talking into the void, that there was some people out there listening to me. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And I will catch you in the next episode. So take care. Bye. Thanks, Denali.